Right, looks like I am live. So if you are here and watching the replay, um, let's, I'm just here to record my harvest so that I don't have to edit this video. I'll probably put, some clips into a video. But I'm going to try to turn the camera around so that I can show you what I'm going to harvest today. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, that's the microphone. Oh. And I have more of this yellow patty pan squash to harvest. I have several of those. So that's going to be number 2 down there. Let's see here. She's a little, I'll get her probably tomorrow. I feel like I saw one back here. Oh no, I got that one already. I have another video that I haven't released yet. I'm kind of getting backlogged in editing harvest videos. So there's another one in there. So that's why I'm going to do this one live. So that's 4. This little baby here will probably be ready in a day or 2. Walk around here. This is such a beautiful and tall kale and delicious. I am really enjoying it this summer. You know I love Swiss chard. And then here, I feel like there was another one. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and get that one because that's kind of below down to the ground. But I'm going to lift that little baby one up because I don't want any slugs or anything to get her. Those 2 there will probably be ready in a day or 2. So that's going to be the yellow squash. Then I am going to get these here. This one here I'm going to leave, but I'm going to get these 2 here. This is the size that I like to harvest this particular variety. I shared in a recent video that one was hiding from me so perfectly under a leaf and I missed it. And it got probably like 4 times that size. It's still delicious. I actually recorded a video of a meal that I made that I'm going to share on the cooking channel. But it's still delicious when it's bigger. But I do like to get them smaller. Look at that daddy long leg in there. And so, yeah, gonna get that. Swiss chard is still doing good. I pulled that lettuce. But this particular squash plant is so abundant. I looked through um, my past garden seasons and I tried to pull all the food that I recorded that really grew a ton of food on their plants. I'm looking for garden abundance, big time. It's always, but especially this year. And so this plant has so many babies on it, and I've already harvested several. Um, and they just come. This was a couple days ago. It was itty bitty. I shared it on TikTok, and now today, like 3 days later, ready to harvest. This will be ready, like I said, in a day or 2. But I love this variety. Oh, I see someone joined. Hi, Nicole. I'm so out of it with live streaming, but I think I have the chat in the right position to see people as they come in. I'm just gonna kind of look under the leaves to see if there's any more hiding so they don't get too big. But again, as I said, this variety, you know how like zucchini and some of the squash varieties, summer squash especially, if they get too big, I mean, it's just a lot of fiber and water. You kind of lose that the flavor of the plant. But this particular one, not so much. Let me show you. I gotta go around the other way. I'm gonna be replanting some callaloo for me to eat. But I discovered, at least in my garden, plants that are trap crops for different pests, are gonna be different in everybody's garden. For me, I found that callaloo, this callaloo, Chicago callaloo or amaranth, is a trap crop for aphids. And so this is the only thing that I have aphids on in my garden. And along with the aphids are ladybugs. And the ladybugs are eating. I don't know if the ladybug eats the big aphids. You see her in there? Or if she's just eating the eggs. So I have left just a couple of these because I'm just going to sacrifice these. And as you can see, I mean, this is probably my first garden season. Plants were really super healthy. This garden season is like shockingly, I mean, I don't know if you can see, it's just filled um, with aphids. Yeah, I'm just leaving them alone. There's another creature here, but I have some footage. I have a lot of natural pest control in my garden with the frogs and the spiders and the dragonflies and the birds. I have caught some videos, and the bees. They just keep things under control for me. So I'm really happy about that. I really don't. It goes through things like we get a lot of rain. There was probably some leaves that had some, leaf eating things on there. But honestly, let me knock on this wood. I don't have too many problems. Tomatoes are doing great. I'm not harvesting anything over here today. But I think I'm just going to do those squash. And then I'm going to pull some onions. I think I'm going to pull from here. These are my Walla Wallas. Are these the Walla Wallas? Yeah. So Walla Wallas have a short um, shelf life, right? It's a sweet onion. And so I'm growing hundreds of these because I can't store them. Just pulling a couple of missed weeds. I can't store them for a long time. I will be doing some preservation recipes on my cooking channel using them, but mostly I grow them just to harvest fresh onions. And you can see that's a good size one. So I'm going to pull that, and then I'll leave these to get bigger. There was one here in my harvest video that I haven't released yet. I pulled an onion from there. You can kind of see the indentation because they were getting a little close, and this was kind of not getting bigger. So this will continue getting bigger. But anyway, I have these all over the garden. So I just pull them pretty much every day at this rate. I'm at the stage in my garden where I can come every day and get food, not just herbs. And so that's exciting. Yeah, mostly squash, onions, and greens. Though we have gotten some of our first tomatoes. Exciting. And first cucumbers. You'll see that in the video. But anyway, I'm going to harvest those. You can see here some of the big tomatoes are coming. I shared in a short, my purple Cherokees are coming in strong. This is actually a volunteer plant. You can see here it's coming out of the mulch. And so I like to leave a couple of my volunteers. I used to leave a lot of them, but found that they're mostly cherry tomatoes, and I already have a lot of cherry tomatoes. Now I'll leave a couple, and the main reason is, for me, these are great seeds to save because If this seed fell here, survived through the winter, grew, and generated all this food, this is very clearly a well adapted seed to my climate. And so that's part of my mission this year is just growing and harvesting and saving seeds from as much stuff that I've been able to climatize to grow um, abundantly here. I'm looking for the things that really are growing a lot of great food. And so that tomato plant seems to be doing great. I mean, it has put on more fruit than most of the cherry tomatoes that I've grown from seed. So it's even though I started those indoors, this thing has like it was itty bitty when I planted them, and it's just grown tremendously. So she's happy here. And so I'm going to see if I can, and see here, there's a baby there. This plant, it's just getting started on production. Soon I'll be getting one of those every day, like I am the that particular variety of yellow patty pan. I do have one white patty pan outside the garden that I'm going to grab also. But first, let me try to put this, and then I have some seeds. I brought out some seeds to sow. Let me try to, I tried to do this with, oh, that's not going to work. I tried to set up with a second camera, but I kept getting that feedback and I couldn't remember what I needed to do to stop that. So look, I have all these tools that I just be forgetting to use. This is that little stick. I was going to use that to walk around the garden with the second camera and do a little bit of tour, but I can't figure out how to get that echo out of there. So I did go ahead and I had the free I had the free uh, play around a bit more because really I'm gonna be I'm trying to prepare myself to go live uh, for some live sewing tutorials again. I really had a lot of fun doing that years ago. Sorry, y'all. I'm thirsty. Um, but then I stopped doing live streaming for a while. But now I have some things, some projects that I'm working on, and a new platform that I'm working on, which I'm excited about. And I'm gonna be doing live streams. I'm gonna be doing regular live streams, and so it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta pull myself back out of my comfort zone and practice. So I'm gonna practice in the garden so I can get ready for those live sewing sessions because they're gonna be some complicated projects, and yeah, I gotta have multiple cameras set up and the whole thing. So I kind of have to relearn StreamYard. Ooh, I see another. Let me show you. I told y'all this one squash plant is just kicking out so much food. I just turned around and looked. I saw another one right there. These are growing. These are Texas onions that I'm growing here, and they are getting big. I'm sure not as big as they can get in Texas. Ooh, I'm gonna have to. I'm using this little stand like it's a tripod. I just noticed that the squash has fallen on my basil to keep thriving. And see, some of these, we got a lot of rain. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this. Some of my onions like lost their green top. I don't know what that's about, but I'm gonna go ahead and get that and cook that. So I'm not letting any of my food go to waste. But anyway, let me see this here. Looks, oh, sorry. I got this propped, and so I missed that. I missed some comments here. Let me see if I can scroll down without. This is not the most stable. Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. Let me see if I can scroll down. Somebody asked a question. Let me see. Very happy tomato. Yeah, the onions and tomatoes are doing good. Oh my God, that knocking on wood is so ridiculous. Did you get squash cube borers? I think you mean squash vine borers? No. Well, none that I have seen so far. Um, I should say that, I mean, I've seen in previous years that there definitely was, it would look like squash vine borer eggs kind of laid and made that weird stuff, but it didn't kill my plants. Um, but no, a lot of the varieties that I grow on purpose, I've seen, over the years that they don't seem to be bothered by that. And yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the squash vine borer in my garden. I saw it one year flying around, but I didn't lose. I really didn't lose any squash. I think, yeah, no. One year I saw it and I bought that BT stuff and I injected it into the vine. Um, but I have never bothered since then. I do always also have backups. Like I'm about to plant some more. A lot of the summer squash varieties that I grow, they they yield food anywhere from 45 to 60 days after transplanting. So I'm going to do a second big round. Um, and I think that at this stage, if the squash vine borer came and laid eggs, um, I think we're past that time. Um, Maybe it's the way I protect my soil. It doesn't allow them to emerge. I don't know. I don't know. But thankfully, I haven't seen squash bugs. I haven't seen squash vine borer. Even the Japanese beetle, there were a few. Honestly, the birds kind of chowed them down. I just left them alone. Um, I see the aphids, and like I said, I sacrificed my callaloo for that. And then this week, I started seeing that green hoppy. It's like a green leaf hopper or something like that. I've seen that. Again, very minimal. Have a lot of daddy long legs and bees, and I recorded the woodpecker in here, like eating up some stuff. So I might lose some things, and they do. They come in. The birds come in. I'll come in. There'll be like a whole flock of them in here stealing my worms and pecking and stuff. Sometimes they, disturb some of the little seedlings in the beginning, but yeah, it's just kind of balanced here. Frogs. I captured some video. It'll be in upcoming videos. I have a lot of frogs in here, and they just sit on the leaves, and they eat up a lot of eggs and pests. So I just try to let nature do what it's gonna do. And if something looks crazy, I pull it, you know. But again, I still have several trays of backups that I'll show you, and then I'm gonna start harvesting. I just prepared all of these containers here. This is just like a quarter of my garden space that I'm gonna start putting my last seedlings in. So I'm about to start a lot of stuff from seed and then get the rest of my transplants in. But yeah, I think just the way I grow things, and you know, back when I was setting this all up, I read that if you keep your plants healthy, then a lot of the bad bugs aren't really attracted to like healthy plants. Seems to be true. And then I will say I don't use a lot of liquid fertilizers. The one year that I did that, I felt like it just attracted. I don't know if it's the smell. I don't know. I just I like to put just my compost down. And also, I have a couple garden heroes that I follow, and they all use more like compost versus liquid fertilizers. Um, so, again, I don't know. The scientist in me is not going to make any hard claims without doing controls and proper evidence. It's all anecdotal. But anyway, I'm going to harvest these things so you can see them. Size of my hands. I should have brought some music out. I should have put some music on, but oh, I see another comment. What does it say? Nicole says Texas Grano 502, grown great here near Texas. Yeah, I don't. Let me see which one this Texas one is. Oh, you know what? That's my short day sampler. So I don't. I did separate them though, and I recorded it in a video, but I don't remember. I probably have another steak somewhere that says that exact name. I have two kinds of Texas, two kinds of Texas onions that had the word Texas in it, but I'm not sure which one that is. My labels get hidden so quickly, but I have everything written in my notebook. And yeah, when I do like the full harvest, I'll try to talk about that. But for now, I'm going to harvest this food. I'm going to run outside and get this white patty pan. And there was another little squash out there that I'm going to grab. I'll be right back. All right. So I had to go outside the garden. You'll see that in the video. But this is my first. I feel like this is not the white patty pan. I couldn't see the sign yet, but I'm going to go through. I feel like this is the light green tinted patty pan squash. I can see green in there. And I mean, the white one is usually like white. So I think that's what that is. This is an early green zucchini. This is so buttery and sweet. I've harvested one of those already. You'll see that. Keeping up with plant labels is definitely a struggle. Oh, look at this. If I tap it, I think it shows it. Let me see if that works. Let's see. What does that say? Keeping up with plant labels is definitely its own struggle. Really? I don't struggle with that. I mean, part of it is being a chemist. Like, it's dangerous not to label when you're in the lab. You end up mixing reagents and blowing yourself up. Um, but yeah, I like to, and again, I mean, I hear some people say they don't. Um, I mean, when I do a garden tour, you'll see why I do labels. I mean, I'm growing probably 100 varieties of tomatoes and peppers combined. Like, I can't possibly know what that is. And because I'm specifically trying to figure out what's yielding me the most food here in my short grow season, it's important for me to know what that variety is. Now, for some people, especially those living in the South, you grow all year. I mean, what do you care? Probably if something produces more or not, you're probably growing it all year anyway. But for me, I mean, if I have a squash that gives me, 30 good size uh, squash to harvest versus three, I want to regrow the one that gave me 20. So I want to know what that variety is. And then sometimes it's just the taste. And yeah, I like to learn the names. I like the varieties. I mean, that's part of what motivated me to grow. When I joined the CSA and I learned that there were all these different varieties. So yeah, I mean, I invested in some really good pens so that they don't wash away. And then I write it in my notebook as backup. So, because sometimes it does fly out. And every once in a while, there's something where it's like, I can't remember, especially if it comes back as a volunteer, because who knows where that seed is. I still have these tree weeds growing over here. Oh, look. Let me go ahead and grab this. Told you I plant my onions real close so I can come in and harvest throughout the season, and then I do my big harvest at the end. And that onion, I saw this baby one, didn't have enough space to get big. I'm gonna get another one of these. Let me see. I'd be careful with the red onions because some of the red onions are my storage onions. That's the Red River, but I got a lot of these. Look at how beautiful they are already. I mean, they won't be full sized until fall. They still have whew, another 2 months to grow. But they're so delicious. So I like to grow like 3 times more than I want to store so I can harvest them fresh and delicious. So I got 2 Red River onions for today. And now I'm going to get those patty pans. Yeah, I'm learning. I'm refreshing myself. Different angles. Jeez. I got to bring a different stand out here when I do this too. Okay. I'm so excited that my Wi-Fi range is reaching all the way out here. So I'm just going back and getting those. This variety of yellow patty pan is so beautiful and delicious. So I'm just going back around and getting those that I showed at the beginning of the live stream. I think I have one more little bug on there. This plant has been so abundant. Then this one is a little bit smaller than I typically get them, but she was so close to the ground. I didn't want to risk her getting latched on by some bug. So now I'm going to get those green tatume squash that I showed earlier. It's two of those. Okay. These are just, they're so good. I'm definitely going to be um, keeping an eye out on these because I saw like six more plants, um, six more fruit growing on there. I got to do a good inspection. I'm so like, these are two of my favorite summer squash, and they're two of my most productive, abundant summer squash. So I'm so thrilled with that. So last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get that Walla Walla onion that I showed at the beginning. And then I think I'm going to go ahead while I'm out here and go ahead and get the greens for tonight. I was going to come back out, but I'm going to go ahead and get them. So here's that Walla Walla that I showed in the beginning. I probably should have shaken the dirt off of that. I love those onions. And now I'm going to clip some greens. All right, let me hand hold this because I didn't show you the greens I'm going to get. I think I'm going to sow the seeds tomorrow because I need to actually do a couple of things before dinner. And I see it's almost 5 o'clock. I was planning on hopping on here for like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to get this kale that has just been just beautiful and delicious and growing so well. I'm going to get some of this frilly kale. I've shared these already in previous videos and shared the name, so I'm not going to dig down. My tatsoi finally went to seed, so I cleared that out. I have a little bit of weeding to do in here. I have to pull up a couple more tomatoes. Like, see, I need to get her up. And then I'm going to sow some fresh seeds in here. That's why I have those seed packs out. Gonna get some of this kale variety too. These kales, I love these. They taste more like a cabbage than a kale to me. Love them. Then I'm gonna get some of this Swiss chard, and let's go back here, go around this massive squash. I'm gonna get some of this Swiss chard, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this kale too. I think so. So I'm gonna do a little mixture. She's so tall. She's like almost 3 feet tall. This kale. What variety is that? I can't even remember. Oh, this is the walking stick kale. Yeah, that's supposed to get really tall. Oh, yeah, that's why it's so tall. This is the walking stick kale from Baker Creek. Their cover, they have a picture of the kale like several feet taller than the guy standing next to it. Like this kale can get really, really tall. I'm sure if you live in the South and you can grow it like for 6, 7 months, you could probably get it that tall. We'll see how tall it gets here. But I mean, it's been growing just beautifully all summer long. All my green kales have been doing really well. I should probably get some of this chard over here too, but I think I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I'm going to save that for tomorrow because I'm going to have to come out and get more squash tomorrow. So let me get my kale. I'll set this back down. Move this back. This kale is so tender and delicious. So beautiful. Okay, there's the rest of the kale. Let me hold this up. It's so beautiful. I'll grab some of this variety of chard too. Look at that stem. Look at that. It's so beautiful. Yum, yum. So I'm really excited to be testing out the live stream. I'm going to do this a couple more times on the gardening channel just to get some practice in for when I'm doing my sewing tutorials. And again, it's a great way for me to share with you all what I'm harvesting without having to wait a week or two for me to edit the video. So I'm going to wrap up. I'll show you some of my marigolds. I'll be harvesting more marigolds and freeze drying those tomorrow. I have some other varieties that are finally looking like they're going to bloom. So I have a mixture of French marigolds like these and other marigolds. And they all open at different times. And so, yeah. And I'll show you quickly. Oh, yeah, I got to get some basil. So let me go ahead and get the basil. I have some basil up in my kitchen garden close to the house, but it's just not as big. Let me go ahead and get this so I don't forget. I need to come out and harvest more sage and freeze dry that. Get the rest of this arugula out and sow some fresh arugula. More of my sriracha peppers are ripening. And then I have another plant that has like 6 ripened srirachas on it. I'll probably harvest those tomorrow with you all. I'm going to show you, in case you didn't see the short. Oh, I forgot about all this kale over here. But see, I'll harvest that tomorrow. But look at how beautifully the purple Cherokees are coming in. So exciting. That might be my first dark tomato. The Amana orange, I think, is going to be the first light tomato. I have a couple strawberries still hanging in there, but the strawberries are mostly gone right now. They'll come back in the fall, I hope, like they did last year. And again, I think this is one of my storage white onions. Yeah. So I'm not going to touch these onions. That's my storage variety. Yeah. This is one of my Amana orange tomatoes. So yeah, I got to get these areas sown. Like I said, there'll be a lot of new food going in up and down here and on the side. And I still have 2 large metal raised beds that are completely empty down here. In my upper hillside garden, I have a lot of metal raised beds up there that are empty that fall crops are going to go in. Look, I'll show you quickly. I don't know if I showed you my cauliflower. And then somewhere back there hidden is Brussels. Yeah, you can see there's a Brussels plant right there. I got to get that staked up. I cleared this bed out of all the spring crops, the turnips and radishes and stuff like that. And I got to stake these squash vines back on the fence. This is a very... I'm growing some new varieties of squash, new to Baker Creek this year. And man, when I tell you the vining is absurd. And I saw that on one of the reviews. And so, I mean, this is all squash leaves from this one squash plant. So I'm going to get back here and stake them. Blooms have started to form. It's all the way over here in this bed. These are the 2 beds that still need to be planted. All back there. But it is starting to fruit. So I need to stake that. So between these 2 beds are 4 different varieties of new winter squash, new varieties at Baker Creek. So you can see here, there's a fruit. Look at this. This is all that one plant. There's a fruit. And I saw some babies. I lost track of them. Oh yeah, down in here. And then there's some up in there. So yeah, I have to stake this, but I'm not sure if I should cut it. We'll see. We'll see. And I'll share the names at some point of these 4 different new varieties. But man, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous looking. So we'll see how they grow. But they did start, like I said, they started blooming a lot. So I had to get that under control. And over here too, I have some empty space to plant in. These are my cherry tomato plants from seed. A lot of my bumble. This is the blush tiger. So anyway, a lot of those are starting to fruit. I got to get in here, stake them, get off the old leaves from all the rain. But you can see they're putting on a lot of flowers. Which right, this is the Sun Gold Select 2. I got a pack of those, and man, they sent me like 400 seeds. It's crazy. So I'm looking forward to those. But look, they're setting a lot of flowers. So soon the cherry tomatoes will come. So that's another thing I'm going to do. in the upcoming. I think I'll do that live, setting up my next round of salad greens. And then maybe I'll come back also this week and sow these seeds that I had pulled that I was going to sow today, but I need to get inside. But I got out. My next round, these are going to go into those grow bags that I cleared. All right, so this is, oh, I can't lift it with one hand. This is the harvest for today. I'm going to go. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching the replay. I'll see you soon. Bye. Say how do I?